Chef Grace's place. So today we're going to be grilling some steak. As you can see, we're not actually at Grace's place today. Today we're at my uncle's house. We're outside practicing social distancing. Say hi, Mom. Alright, and let's get back to cooking steak. The most important thing you want to do is preheat your grill. Right? This grill is almost at 600 degrees right now. It's going to get even hotter as I prep my steak. You really want to make sure that your grill's screaming hot, so this way when you put the steak on it, it's going to sear. It's going to basically cauterize that piece of meat and lock in all the juices. So we're going to sear on both sides, and then we're going to close the lid. So by closing the lid, we're now turning that grill with the one heat source from the bottom into like an oven. So if you're at home and you don't have access to a grill, you can make your pan screaming hot, sear your steak on all sides, and then throw it into an oven that's about 400, 450 degrees. So don't worry, if you don't have a grill, you can still have a great steak. So the first thing you want to do with your steaks is you want to make sure it's a good quality steak. You're looking for a nice deep red color and marbleization in the meat, right? So marbleization is going to be those nice fat streaks. If you want a really nice piece of steak for a special occasion, go to a real butcher, or go to the farm where they have the cattle. Don't just buy some factory farm piece of meat, because it's not going to taste good. If you start with good quality, then you're going to end with something that tastes amazing. I'm just going to put a little oil on my steak, some salt, and some pepper on each side, and then they're going to get on the steaming hot grill. So these are ribeye steaks, by the way. Got them in my butcher box. I'm going to use a coarse salt and pepper to encrust your meat. I highly recommend that you use fresh ground black pepper for this. This is sea salt. You could also use kosher salt. It's going to look like a lot of salt, but not all that's getting into the meat. So it's really important to remember that. You really want to coat this in salt and pepper. Once you have the salt and pepper on your steaks, you're ready for the grill. Okay, so before you start searing your steak, it's really important that you oil the grill. So I just have a paper towel and put some oil on. Whoop. And I'm just going to rub the grates with this, and then I'm going to start searing. So make sure you're using an oil that has a very high smoke point. I'm using canola oil, but you can use vegetable oil or grapeseed oil. Just stay away from something with a low smoke point like olive oil. One. Alright. So you want to leave it on there. If you move it, that's not going to let it sear. Okay? Some of the best advice I can give you about grills is make sure you know your grill. This is my first time cooking on this grill, and the thermometer said 550, but the thermometer was wrong, and it stuck at 550. So the first two steaks I made, they didn't come out horrible, but I didn't get that great sear that I wanted on the outside. So my next two steaks, I just turned all the burners up as high as it could go. So we're gonna get hopefully well past 550 degrees and get that nice sear on those steaks. Alright, so make sure you get it as hot as humanly possible, and unless you know you have a calibrated thermometer, don't trust it. So the way we're going to tell if our steak is rare, medium rare, or well done, so we're just going to make fists with our hands. Right, always make sure your thumb goes here, not here, right? And we're going to use this side, right? So if I just relax my hand, right? This is pretty much, it's rare, it's not cooked in the middle, extra raw, bloody, it's mooing, okay? And we're talking about this patch of muscle between the thumb and the index finger, right? That's what we're using as our steak, right? So, relaxed hand, you know, that's rare. Fist, but not like clenched fist, is medium rare. So this is what we're looking for, right? But if I clench it tight, that's well done. I don't like well done, right? It's not an exact science. Everybody's hands are different, so you're just gonna have to practice. You know, practice makes perfect when it comes to grilling steaks. So I cleaned off the grill. I'm gonna re-oil it because I'm getting it so hot that I'm burning off whatever was on there, all those little bits of steak or whatever that might have stuck to it because it wasn't hot enough. And then I'm going to do the same process again, but with a higher heat. You want to hear that nice sizzle. Alright, if you don't hear that sizzle, it's not hot enough. Alright, that's one of the, we had a little bit of sizzle on our last steaks, but not enough. So that sounds a lot better than it did before. So as soon as these are done searing, alright, which should be any second, it shouldn't take that long to sear. You should be able to see it a little bit on the edges, that fat really caramelizing, and then you're gonna flip it over. And also, if you can't move it off the grill, then it's not done searing yet. Now I should be able to flip my steaks over. Maybe another second. Alright, so I got a nice sear on this steak. Beautiful. I'll flip it over. So you can tell this spot's a little colder, it's not searing as good as over here. So because this is cooking slower, that slow heat is radiating through the meat, so it's going to be harder to get a perfect medium rare than if we just had a nice quick sear on all the sides. To me, this actually makes it a lot easier to do at home in a pan. You know, this is a gas grill, so honestly, gas grill versus saute pan, to me not big a difference. But if you're using like a nice wood or even charcoal, you know, you get an extra flavor from utilizing the grill. Beautiful. A little patience goes a long way. Alright, so now I'm going to close the lid, let that sear, let it bake for a couple minutes. Not that long though, because our steaks are very thin, and then hopefully I'll cut into a nice medium rare steak for all you guys to see.
I don't like the medium rare.
Yeah, Mr. Safer, well done over here. Alright, so now it's been a couple minutes. I'm going to check on my steak. It's been a couple minutes, right? Oh, it looks beautiful. I'm going to hit my steaks with the herb butter and take them off the grill. Beautiful. Alright, so to clean this off, I'm just going to let this stuff burn off and then scrape it with a brush. This nice ribeyes just came off the grill, so we got to let them rest for 5 minutes and then we're going to cut into them. So we need to let the meat relax because as soon as we take off the grill, the juices are going to want to come out of the meat. So if we let it relax, then those muscle fibers are going to relax and they're going to reabsorb some of that juice and you're going to have a nice juicy steak and the juice will be in your mouth instead of cutting through it right away and that juice just pours out and it never goes back into the meat.
Don't talk about juices in my mouth like that. That's not nice.
So when you look at a steak, you want to see what the way the grain goes. So that's like which way those muscle fibers are going, and you want to cut against it. This shortens the muscle fibers and it makes it so you're only chewing a short muscle fiber, so you're not going to have a long chewy muscle fiber to chew on, and you won't be sitting there forever going nom, 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 trying to eat a steak. So I'm looking at this steak, this muscle fiber's going this way, so I'm going to cut it this way. Alright, and I'm going to also cut it on the bias, which means cutting it at an angle, and that's also going to cut those muscle fibers diagonally, which is going to give me another shorter chew. Alright, so I got a little more medium well on this steak. And also, if you look at a piece of steak, right, you can see where you seared it, right? So if you don't have those lines, if these lines aren't very defined, then you haven't seared it. I hope you enjoyed this grilling lesson. I'm gonna go eat some steak, and please subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that notification bell and that like button. So see you next time, not at my uncle's place, but at Grace's place.